Diamantino asks, the stream of ideas on the internet is very much based on engagement. Didn't this bring us to a non-ideas dictatorship, a self-driven dragon?
Driven?
How to slay it? So your dragon came here again.
Let me take a look.
Please do.
Yep. Well, look, I mean, I'm actually pretty optimistic about a lot of what's happened on the net with regards to the exchange of ideas. Now, I might be biased by the fact that my interaction with the net has been very successful, and so, you know, that's going to color my viewpoint. But see, I've thought a lot about why people have been paying attention to what I've been saying on the net. And one of the things that you learn as a social scientist, as a psychologist particularly, is that you don't attribute to a personality what you can attribute first to a situation. So you want to do a situational analysis first. And I thought, well, what's unique about my situation? And the answer is, well, I was an early adopter of internet technology for the delivery of psychological lectures, because I started that in 2013. And it's a very powerful technology, online video. So one of the things we should do is outline why it's a powerful technology, because it's worth thinking through, because it's so new that we haven't thought it through. So the first is that it has everything that TV has, right? It's everything that TV is. So, and TV was perfectly powerful, so that's something right there. But then it has a whole bunch of things that TV doesn't have. Number one, unlimited bandwidth. Like, that's an unbelievable advance, you know, because TV made us look stupider than we were. And the reason for that was it was very, very expensive per unit of information. And so everything had to be truncated and compressed. You had 30 seconds to explain your complex idea. It's like, well, good luck with that. You can't explain a complex idea in 30 seconds. And then not only did you have to explain your complex idea in 30 seconds, you couldn't assume that your audience knew anything, and you couldn't assume that they would remember anything. And so it was like you were talking to someone with late-stage Alzheimer's, because you couldn't assume continuity of memory. And so narrow bandwidth and no memory made us appear stupider than we were. Now, what happened when we moved to online video? Well, there used to be an idea among TV networks that maybe you could get people to sit down for 90 minutes and watch a movie. It was like that was it for their attention span, man. You're pushing it at that level. It's like, no. What do you guys watch? You watch Breaking Bad? You watch, what's that?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. It's like, how many hours is that? Like 200? And there's 80 plot lines, and you'll sit there and binge on it for like 3 days and not even eat. It's like, so people have way more capacity for sustained attention, especially for material delivered through video, than anyone suspected, and way more capacity to process complex plot lines, because plot lines have exploded in complexity over the last 20 years. So online video delivery actually turns out to be very, very sophisticated. So that's the next advantage. No bandwidth limitations. So you can put forward very complex ideas. And then it turns out there's a market for them. You know, I mean, I went to Dublin and had a discussion with Sam Harris about the relationship between facts and values. It's like, well, who would have thought that was a spectator sport? You know, and there was 8,500 people showed up for a 2.5-hour discussion. It was one of 4 discussions. And here you all are tonight listening to what I would say is a fairly, at least by my standards, a fairly sophisticated intellectual discussion. Now, I know most of you are associated with the university, but it doesn't matter, because if I go to a given city, I can get 2,000 people to come and have the sort of discussion that we had tonight. And so people turn out to be a lot smarter than we thought they were. And so that's pretty cool. And so YouTube it's got what TV it has, no bandwidth restriction, and it's free. So the production, like the entry barrier is 0, and the lag to publication is 0. You can make a video and put it up the same day. And it's just as permanent as a book, and it has a farther reach than a book. And that's really something, right? So I put up my YouTube videos in 2013, And then by 2016, early, they'd hit 1 million views. And people were watching quite a lot of the videos. They were long, 90 minutes, sometimes 3-hour lectures, complicated lectures. And I thought, 1 million? Like, that's 20 football stadiums. That's a lot of people. If you sell 1 million books, it's like, that never happens, right? That happens to 1 in 100 authors once every 10 years. It's unbelievably rare. You never get 1 million citations on your damn paper, that's for sure. And so, what do you make of 1 million? And I thought, well, what is this YouTube exactly? What is this thing that we're playing with that people put up cute cat videos on? And that, you know, that young people are using for cheap entertainment. It's like, oh, I see, it's the Gutenberg Revolution. But it's bigger, because maybe more people can watch than can read.
I think, oh, sorry, it's the noise, it's closing the ceiling.
Oh,
because of it's cold.
Oh, yes, look at that. That's not what you'd expect. Okay, that's an anomaly, right? That's a little chaos. It's like the ceiling isn't supposed to move. So, okay, so you have YouTube. Now, let's imagine, just for the sake of argument, that 10 times as many people can watch a video as can read a book. Because that might be the case, because reading is a minority taste. And then you add podcasts to that, which have an even broader audience, because you can listen while you're doing other work. It's like it's an educational opportunity, the likes of which we've never seen in the entire history of mankind. And so I don't think that video-mediated internet communication is going to make us stupider. I think it's going to make us smarter. And I think the entrepreneurial technological geeks will stay ahead of the bureaucrats who want to close things down and restrict it. So we'll see.
Thank you.